Welcome back and hello if you are new. So, one of the most exciting bands of recent years, Loathe have slowly but surely been piecing together songs that have created an identity which is both inexplicably Loathe, but also incredibly experimental at the same time. Leaving us all breadcrumbs with The Cold Sun, I definitely wasn't prepared for what the band had in store next, with I Let It In and It Took Everything. Now, this is only my interpretation of the album, but the it that they're talking about on the record, I think could refer to mental health. Now, the main reason that this kind of came to mind is the juxtaposition of the band's sounds. Now, really with Loathe, you kind of have got full-on aggression or really beautiful, serene melancholy. And I think make for a really interesting kind of comparison between the two and kind of create a narrative. You've got many different emotions that could be attributed to the negative aspects of this album. So for example, fear, depression, anxiety, confusion. And I think that's kind of illustrated by Kadim's really aggressive, full-on vocal performance. However, you've also got a melancholic clarity which kind of runs through the undercurrent of the record. Vocals aside, however, there are these beautifully cinematic cleans which again tie the record together. So it starts off with the first track, Theme. Then you've got the end of Broken Vision Rhythm, which kind of floats off a little bit, then 451 Days. Then we move into Red Room, where things become a little bit more ominous. And then we go back to the kind of almost happy sounding on Is It Really You? Now, Is It Really You, I think, has a real sense of kind of credence. It's also got a sense of clarity and real catharsis and, accepting the moment that you are actually in. However, alongside this peaceful sense of the record, there is also an idea of trepidation, which again could be linked to the idea of the mental health thing, where the insidious thoughts of, depression and anxiety often take over. And I think that's really kind of nicely portrayed on Red Room because it does have a sense of the ominous about it. I think tone is also a huge part of I Let It In and It Took Everything. There are many different guitar effects. I called them sort of like squishes. And then this sense of feedback, which again kind of heightens that sense of hysteria and madness. But then you've also got the same idea with the delay on the vocals, the kind of reverb that they've put together, those kind of ideas. In an age where fusing genres is becoming increasingly kind of more championed, now there are so many different ideas of exploration on this record, particularly the Deaf Heaven inspired Heavy is the Head that Falls with the Weight of 1,000 Thoughts. And that really kind of changes the atmosphere. But then you've almost got indie style turnover sounds on Screaming. And then, again, this kind of coursing electronics feeling that is felt throughout the album, but particularly on A Sad Cartoon Reprise. But then, of course, there is the old faithful grooving Meshuggah style riffs that Loathe are very well known for. And with that in mind, you know, there are moments on this record which are some of the heaviest you'll probably hear this year. The only downsides I would say to the album is that it can take quite a few listens to really get a song. And by that I kind of mean, because the album sort of weaves and meanders and everything like that, it's difficult to really kind of get your head around it. I think that as a record it's quite emotionally taxing sometimes, and you're not necessarily always in the mood because it is a very full-on journey. I also think that the final track, I Let It In and Took Everything, didn't necessarily need to be there. I thought it kind of ended really nicely on a sad cartoon reprise. Deeply emotional and incredibly cinematic, I Let It In and It Took Everything is as much Blade Runner as it is Meshuggah, as much Deftones as it is Black Mirror. And they've created a fantastic dystopian world that you can inhabit in your head. Loathe's brand new album is out now, and you can pick up a copy right underneath me here. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like and subscribe button. Be sure to let me know what you think of the video, drop a comment, and I will see you guys very, very soon for another album review. Alright, take care friends.